Hey guys, Brian here from True Rescue. Today we're going to be talking about what you should find in a bleeding control kit, also known as a trauma kit, or you might hear it called a tourniquet kit. Bleeding control kits are really designed with one purpose in mind, and that's to save a life in the case of hemorrhagic, life-threatening bleeding. So with that being said, you're not going to find a lot of the non-essential type first aid items that you might find in a first aid kit and a bleeding control kit, because every content in a bleeding control kit has that purpose in mind, designed to save a life with not a lot of excess. So we'll get into this kit here, and what we're using today is a premium level kit from True Rescue. So this has all the bells and whistles in terms of contents, but we'll kind of talk about which ones are standard to any bleeding control kit and which might be extra depending on the level of the kit that you purchase. So when we open this up, we'll kind of talk through this in the order of how you might use these products in the kit. So book fold opening, the first thing we have is instructions for use. We'll set those aside. Then we've got gloves, 2 sets of gloves, one for you, maybe for a second rescuer, or if your gloves rip. Always thinking about personal protection as one of the first steps. Then we have heavy-duty trauma shears to cut through any clothing to expose the wound. Next is our tourniquet for extremity use, arms or legs with hemorrhagic bleeding. Here we have a CAT tourniquet. We could also use a SAM-XT tourniquet or a SWAT-T tourniquet. Next, we've got wound packing gauze. Typically, we're going to find 2 different sets of wound packing gauze here, but minimum 1. Here in our kit, we have two wound packing gauze packs. You'll notice in this kit, one of them is a hemostatic gauze. We're using Quick Clot here, but oftentimes these could just be both identical, just standard wound packing gauze. The difference being that the Quick Clot has hemostatic agents impregnated into it to help with the clotting cascade. We'll set those aside, and we've got our ETD, which stands for Emergency Trauma Dressing. This is going to be a larger dressing for things like abdominal wounds or larger wounds. Minimum 4-inch. We typically use a 6-inch in all of our kits here. So that's that emergency trauma dressing. Then we're going to have a black marker for writing the time of application of the tourniquet, numbering patients, things like that. We have a thermal blanket to keep the patient warm. And then lastly, but not least, we've got 2 hyphen chest seals. These are optional. You're not going to find these in every kit, but we do recommend it. This is more specifically for a thoracic region type wound, often type like a bullet wound. The reason for a twin pack is that entrance and exit wound, so that you can apply one of these to both the front and the back. And that covers what you should typically find in any sort of bleeding control kit.